Unlike the iPhone 14 Pro Max, the iPhone 15 Pro Max can shoot 24 megapixel photos instead of 12 megapixel photos. Now, the best part is the iPhone 15 Pro Max can actually record high resolution videos, and this is a feature the iPhone 14 Pro Max lacks. Should I go on? Well, you know how we do this. Let's find out together more about the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Before we start this video, I wanted to please like, share and subscribe, as well as turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any update from us as we discuss about iPhones, Android and gadget tips. Alright, so let's get started. You see, despite the fact promotion was introduced on the iPhone 13 Pro Max, and the OLED display of the iPhone 14 Pro Max had, a typical maximum brightness of 1000 nits. These phones I mentioned, they struggle to maintain efficiency, especially during high quality, gaming. Now the truth is, Apple is actually, they are aware and they knew what they wanted with this iPhone 15 Pro Max. Anyways, let's talk about the display of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Now, the iPhone 15 Pro Max comes with 6.7-inch Super Retina OLED display with 120Hz ProMotion and 2000 nits for brightness, for peak brightness. And also, the iPhone 15 Pro Max weighs 221 grams, which is great because the iPhone 14 Pro Max is actually heavier. I'm talking about 240 grams. Now, what I actually love about the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the introduction of the titanium frame. Now, one of the disadvantages of the stainless steel frame is that previous iPhones, there is this stainless steel frame. It usually have these smudges a lot. When I mean smudges, I'm talking about a sticky or dirty mark, at the corner of the previous stainless steel frames, iPhones. You understand? But when it comes to the titanium frame, that's a thing of the past. Now, I would actually, talk more about the display of the 15 Pro Max later on at the end of this video, but I have an issue with something: the dynamic island. I've actually talked about the dynamic island in the past, specifically on the iPhone 14 Pro Max video which I did. You can actually check it out after this one. Link is in the description. The issue I have with the dynamic island is that it slightly clips in some videos and pictures, and yeah, it does also clip in full screen gaming. So in essence, this dynamic island, it harbors the screen in a way. All right, and to be honest, I actually wish Apple could push the dynamic island closer to the frame instead of affecting the screen. All right, but I guess not every beauty needs recommendation, if you know what I mean. Anyways, let's talk about the camera of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Most people would say the iPhone 14 Pro Max camera is better than 13 Pro Max camera, and some would say the 12 Pro Max camera is better than the 13 Pro Max camera. But is that true? Well, this video is not really about that, but for future content of this kind, please do well to subscribe, to like this video, share and subscribe, because I would do that, some comparison videos between all this phone, like camera, performance and all that. But as usual, the iPhone 15 Pro Max has a massive camera bump with 3 lenses on the back, talking about the wide, ultra wide and telephoto lens. Alright, and like I said earlier on, the camera of the iPhone 15 Pro Max can shoot 24 megapixel, photos. So let's go to settings to confirm that, together. As you can see, photo mode is automatically set at 24 megapixel on the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but we need to do something as well. Let's turn on Pro RAW and resolution control. Alright, now we have set up the camera of the 15 Pro Max to perfection. You see, what I love about the camera of the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the optical zoom lens, which extends to 5x, which is great. Alright, now the main camera of the iPhone 15 Pro Max is a 48 megapixel camera, which is great even at night. Now speaking of night, I can't personally shoot night mode with when I turn on photo mode 24 megapixel because it won't it's not available when shooting with Pro RAW, which I turned on earlier on. Alright, so how do you shoot night mode on the 15 Pro Max? Well, you have to simply go back to turning it to 12 megapixel, or better to use the main camera, which is the 48 megapixel. But anyways, here are photos of the iPhone 15 Pro Max main camera. The attention to detail, especially the green grass, is actually impressive. Talking about the color accuracy of the iPhone 15 Pro Max is actually very impressive. Anyway, here's actually a selfie of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and here's also a portrait mode of the iPhone 15 Pro Max as well. And as you can see, the selfie is actually impressive as it actually tuned my skin to a very beautiful with very beautiful color grading or accuracy. All right, now there's something I want to tell you guys. You see, while I was playing around the 5x optical zoom camera, I noticed the longer the lens, the harder it is to keep it steady. What I mean is, the more you increase it from 3x to 5x optical zoom, the more is when you are holding this phone with your hand, it's very difficult for you to take a very good shot, a very good video that it won't shake. You understand? Okay, and not everyone love using a tripod stand to take videos or pictures. So what can you do? Well, in a future video I will explain to you guys thoroughly how you can use how you can increase your shutter speed without having to discover too much noise. You understand? Too much noise on the phone or on the picture. All right, but anyways, here's a video recording of the main camera. And the main camera actually has, and while doing video recording on this phone, you can actually do video recording at 4K at 60 frames per second. As usual, cinematic mode is available on this phone. So here's a video of the front camera.
What do you guys think about it?
And please let me know in the comments. Alright, anyways, let's talk about the color and storage of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. As you can see on your screen, the color of the iPhone 15 Pro Max is what we call natural titanium. But if you don't like this color option, black titanium is available, as well as blue and white titanium. Personally, I love the black titanium, maybe because it fits my my personality, a classy and elegant gentleman. you know what I'm talking about. Well, let's talk about storage of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. Unfortunately, the iPhone 15 Pro Max doesn't have a 128GB storage option. For me, this is a good decision from Apple because their phone tend to stand the test of time. For example, till this day, we talk about the iPhone 8 Plus, the iPhone X, and people still buy them in the black market or even in retail stores till this day. You understand? And with the way chipsets of phones, are getting better and faster, 5 years from now, I don't think a 120 gigabyte option would be great on the 15 Pro Max or even for any phone in the future. All right. However, the 128 gigabyte option is actually available on the iPhone 15, the iPhone 15 Plus, and the iPhone 15 Pro. Meanwhile, the iPhone 15 Pro Max has 256 gig option and the 512 gigabyte option. Lastly, a 1 terabyte option. But if storage is a big deal for you, like you really love to have a big storage, maybe because of you're a content creator or you are you're into video editing, then you can actually check this video out on why as an iPhone user you might need a MacBook. Anyways, let's talk about the software update of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. You see, this phone was launched with iOS 17 back in 2023, and since Apple usually have 5 years, as in like their phones usually have 5 years of support, then it's safe to say this phone is going to have iOS 19, iOS 20, iOS 21, and lastly iOS 22. Amazingly, Android phones actually opened their games lately with software updates, and some Android phones now usually as having 7 years of software updates. And actually discussed about software updates on Android phones in the past. I talked about that on this video, so the link is in the description. Alright, so my final review about the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I know this is what you guys have been waiting for, but yeah, and I also know what you guys are thinking. Why didn't I do a battery and performance review on the 15 Pro Max? Well, the truth is, if you've been watching this video from the beginning, you would have recognized something. And what is that? The battery of this phone is currently showing unverified, meaning it's been replaced, and I won't be able to get a thorough and performance test on this phone since it's a replaced battery. You understand? I wouldn't want you guys to to just go and buy a 15 Pro Max without getting to get a thorough review from me. But in a future video, I would actually do just that, and with another 15 Pro Max, so does focus on just the performance and the battery to see how it lasts. But in terms of these are the speakers of 15 Pro Max, there's not really much improvement from the 14 Pro Max. It's the same stereo speakers. But if I'm to compare with Galaxy Z Fold phones on which is better, I would actually say the Galaxy Z Fold is better, but we can actually argue about that in the comments. Alright, and in case you're wondering, the 15 Pro Max doesn't use lightning cable ports. I actually talked about that on the 14 Pro Max video. I talked about the reasons itself why iPhone stopped using lightning cable port on the 15 Pro Max, because they have been using it from the beginning. Alright, so you can actually check it out after this video. And yeah, so instead the 15 Pro Max uses a USB Type-C cable and charging and a data port with a USB 3 speed. Alright, so another problem I have with the display of the 15 Pro Max is that if you're not careful, the back of this phone is a bit slippery, and since it has rounded edges around the corner, you have to hold this phone carefully, or better yet, get a pouch. You see, the truth is, if you are prepared to to buy a 15 Pro Max, be it a one-time payment or instrumental payment, you are technically very likely to actually do the same for a 16 Pro Max. Alright, the reason why I'm saying this is because of Apple intelligence. The truth is, the future of iPhones will revolve around Apple Intelligence. And from what I've seen about the 15 Pro Max, I can actually say the 15 Pro Max was likely a testing ground for Apple Intelligence, which means that even if there's going to be major improvement on the Apple Intelligence, I don't think the 15 Pro Max will get its full benefit in the future. So it will be better, instead of to go for the 15 Pro Max, you just go for the 16 Pro Max. But if the main reason why you want a 15 Pro Max is because you're looking for a great camera, then of course I'm not holding you. This phone is specifically meant for you. So thank you. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, comment please, because I notice I don't get comments often, and subscribe so you won't miss an update and content from us. My name is Eferia Ifeanyichukwu Conroy Ifemena. So see you next week, Monday, and so long.